Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. I'm not super excited about making this video today, just simply because this is a topic of discussion that I kind of didn't feel compelled to intervene on. I was just kind of hoping that it would run its course and just disappear. But it's been going on for enough weeks now that I feel like it's going to be around for a little bit longer. And so I figured, why not just throw my 2 cents out into this whole thing. And so the topic that we're discussing today is the topic of potential fake guitar players on social media. Now, if you don't know, for the past couple weeks, maybe a little bit longer, I've lost track of time at this point, there's been a lot of talk amongst guitar players on social media about potential fake guitar players that are posting videos to social media, to YouTube, of them playing songs and original compositions, but the video is sped up, or the audio doesn't match with the video, or the audio doesn't sound like a guitar. You know, all these different factors that could play a role in it being a fraudulent video.
My God, that's amazing! You are so talented! Huh? Wait a second. Something's not right here. You were just making it look like you were playing. You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
So, at the root of it, if you're putting out fake stuff on the internet, I think that it just makes you look bad. And I think amongst guitar players, they'll see what you're doing and they'll just know that it's something that's fraudulent. So, you know, I see certain guys that are out there and I see what they're posting up and I think, okay, I mean, whatever, it's your thing. Cool. The problem that I have is when these guys are going out and they're promoting these sort of like multi-step music courses that guarantee you will learn how to play as fast and as articulate as they do in their videos. And this isn't necessarily something new, but as far as promoting it on social media for guitar, I think there hasn't been this much of an influx of this sort of thing going on up until recently. I've gotten ads sent my way on Instagram where it's a couple different guitar players that are playing these impossible things on the guitar. And they're saying, if you sign up for my 12-step course, you'll learn all the things you need to know in order to learn how to play this fast, how to play through these scales and arpeggios, and blah, 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 blah. And I think it's important for musicians to be able to redistribute the knowledge they have to a younger generation. But I also think it's important for musicians to be able to find a source of income. And so at the root of it, I don't see a problem with selling music material to be sold on your website or whatever. The problem I have with it is that if it's something that's fraudulent, or if it's based on something fraudulent, like if your ad is something that is not necessarily tangible for a random regular person to go and achieve, then you're cheating someone out of their money and their time.
Hey, you're a great big phony, you know that?
But as far as advertising goes, throughout your day, countless times a day, there's instances where you're being marketed to be enticed to invest in different streaming services, products, makeup, whatever. And the presentation is based off of something that you're not necessarily going to get as a result of purchasing that item, especially if it's something visual. With makeup, I've seen countless times where someone gets makeup from a different company and it doesn't look like it did in the ad, but this is just something that happens. And it comes down to you as a consumer doing the research in terms of finding out whether or not that product that's being sold to you is legit or not. And so, like I said, with these guitar players that are out there and they're pushing these programs and these products that they're selling, if it comes off as fraudulent from the get-go, a knowledgeable guitar player will know. But it's messed up to be marketing that kind of stuff to kids. I say kids, but less experienced music enthusiasts, because they don't know any better. And so I just say you shouldn't do that. Is that going to stop it? No, I know it's not. But I think you shouldn't do it. The problem that I've been having recently is when personalities on social media platforms and on YouTube are going out of their way to talk about this topic in general, but also calling out people and deeming them frauds. And the problem I have with it is that you don't necessarily know who this person is.
Hey, you know who lives in this house? A great big phony!
Like, I don't know who the person who is calling this person a fraud, I don't know them. I don't know what their situation is in regards to a personal relationship that might exist between them and this person they're calling a fraud. And I don't know if the person that they're calling a fraud is in fact a fraud. There's been so many times as a young individual that was interested in trying to get better at the guitar that I would see musicians playing and they would be doing something that to me seemed next to impossible. Or I would hear something that a guitar player was playing and I'd think, how are they doing that? And I think having the impulse to want to know what's going on further, that's part of the beauty that is learning how to play an instrument, not just guitar, but any instrument. And it's beneficial in terms of getting people to come out and see live shows so they can see you do what you're doing in a live setting. But I never would have thought to think that anything that I was seeing was some sort of like optical illusion or just fake audio from a different source other than the guitar or other instrument they were playing. Because if you're putting the effort into all this stuff, why would you fake it? Lip syncing is one thing. Pretending to play your instrument for a video is another thing as well. Anyone who's ever shot a music video before, you know that more often than not, you're not actually playing your instrument. Your amps aren't plugged in. There's 2 cymbals on top of each cymbal stand for the drums. And it's more about just putting enthusiasm into an act and just getting sweaty from doing cardio at 5 minutes a time. And then the cameraman moves to another spot in the room that you're in and tells you to do everything again. So in that regard, it is an act. And the same thing whenever you see a product commercial from a music company. More often than not, the instrument that's being promoted in the ad, they're probably not playing it in real time. And if they are, great. But this is all about promotion and sort of trying their best to guarantee that a product gets sold. So that's where that stems from. Now, as far as people being called out on the internet for being frauds, like I said, I don't think it's a good thing to be calling out people just based on something that you saw they had put out. There's countless guys that I've seen online that I could look at and in that moment think, oh, that's fake. They sped that up. That's not real. But we've come such a long way in terms of technology and what is capable of being done on the guitar. And through the magic of social media and the internet, we have the ability to see what other people are doing and be influenced by that and progress faster than we ever could before. So there are people out there that are really, really good at guitar. And that's just what it is. It's not fraudulent. It's just that people are talented. But like I said, you have these people that are going out and they're calling out people by name on the internet. And I think it's detrimental on both sides because what's going to happen is that this person over here calling that person over there a fraud, everyone that's following that first person hears them say that guy over there is a fraud. Now they are going to go and take it upon themselves to go and invest time into looking at all their videos and commenting on all of them and saying you're a fraud, you're lying to people, yada, 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 just negative stuff. And it might not be true. More often than not, I'd like to believe that it's not the case. I remember the first time I saw Michelangelo Badio play guitar in the video for Speak Hills, and I was like, no one can play their guitar with their fretting hand above the neck, but he can. I went out and saw him do it. I went out and saw him play 2 guitar necks at the same time, and it blew my mind. So it just goes to show, there's people out in the world that are just talented and that just think differently and approach things from a different way and just have the ability to do these things that you might not be able to do or you wouldn't have thought of doing. Plain and simple. Now, I think it's also detrimental from the person who is the accuser because what's going to happen if you get proven wrong? If it turns out that the person you called a fraud comes back with a response and says, actually, I know exactly what I'm doing and I can play the guitar just fine. What does that make you look like? It makes you look like you're just trying to point fingers at people because maybe they play the guitar better than you. A couple of instances where this happened has turned up recently. In the case of guys like Manuel, Gardner, Fernandes. His videos came into question. People were saying that his stuff is sped up. And to be honest, when you're posting things to Instagram, you get 60 seconds unless you're posting to IGTV. And it's not guaranteed that everyone that is looking for guitar videos is going to go to IGTV. More often than not, when I'm on Instagram, I'm not going to IGTV. I feel like it's just this new investment that I got to make while I'm perusing my phone on my lunch break or while I'm on my way to and from work. It's like text messages versus phone calls. If scrolling through Instagram's feed is text messages, IGTV is a phone call because now I got to stop everything to pay attention to this. I hate the phone. I hate the phone. If you call me, it better be good. And so that's the same approach that I have when it comes to IGTV videos. And so, more often than not, you'll see people trying to get as much information as they can into this small brick of time that they have with a post to their Instagram feed. Hopefully you're not speeding up your video too much where it doesn't look somewhat human, but I would imagine that there's guys out there that are speeding it up just enough so that you get the main idea of what they're doing within that period of time that the video allows. Now, Manuel came out and he said that he did speed up some of his stuff, but he can actually play the stuff that he's doing. And that's the other part of it. If you're speeding up your videos, that's one thing. But if you can't play the stuff that you're presenting in a video, then why are you putting it out there in the first place? Which I'm glad that this is an instance where this guy being accused was able to clap back and say, no, actually, I can do this. And he does it very well. Another example of someone who was accused and clapped back is Mann from Rings of Saturn. Now, if you're like me and you have ears, the first time you heard Rings of Saturn, you probably said, that's ridiculous. That can't be human. What is this? This is some audio trickery. And it was one of those instances when I first heard Rings of Saturn where I had to investigate and see what was going on, because it was just so much information being thrown at my face so rapidly that I couldn't believe that it was guitar, drums. It just didn't sound human. And then I did some investigation and I found out that it's not that they're inhuman. They just dedicate their lives to their instruments and their craft, and they play everything really, really well. But Mann was one of the people accused of miming his guitar lines in a live setting. I don't see why you would do that as an instrumentalist. It's one thing if you're a vocalist and you're singing along to a backing track, something in that nature. If it's an outdoor gig and you don't have in-ear monitors, or if it's just thrown together like some sort of Christmas show or Super Bowl, you know, a large sporting event where the transitions have to be seamless and quick, I could see there being a need for there being a backing track. In this case, what's being implied is that he's not even playing the guitar, that it's a pre-recorded guitar line and he's just moving his fingers like that old YouTube video with the cat playing piano. And I'm happy to say that he took some time to put out a video in response to it all and just let everyone know that it's not true. The way that the video presents it, it implies that you can't hear his guitar, or that like it's another audio source in place of his actual guitar while he's moving his fingers. And he proved in the video that he put out that he can not only play the part, but that there's a logical explanation behind why things look the way they did. There's certainly instances where you look at guys on Instagram or on YouTube and you think, that's gotta be fake, because it just sounds fake. And I don't want to call out people, I don't want to name names, because really, you know, if I do that, I'm simply adding fuel to this fire that I think should be put out. I think that it's a bad look to be a person going out and accusing people of fraudulent behavior when it comes to their musical abilities. And I think, and this might be something hard for people to want to stomach, but I think it makes you look a little jealous.
I'm sorry about this, but it's gone too far. I've had it. Hello, is this a jelly school? Okay, I have a girl here who's extremely jelly. I was seeing if you could take her in for a few weeks.
Like I think it's beneficial as a musician to be able to look at other musicians that are better than you and feel enticed to want to do more, feel motivated to progress on your instrument and in terms of your musical abilities. I think that's a good thing. I think it drives the entire musical community forward by having that sort of like healthy competition. But I also think it's very easy to look at someone else who is gaining success from what they're doing and want to find a way to discredit them. Say that they're doing something that isn't real, or they're only in the position that they're in because their dad owns a car dealership or something, you know? And it happens. It's something that does happen in the music industry. It happens all too often. But at the end of the day, don't get caught up on those things. Why let yourself get caught up on those things to the point where you're going out and you're putting videos out about it? If anything, just go and create something that's better, something that you're proud of. Because it shouldn't be this competition that everyone's trying to like get in front of each other. I think everyone wants to be successful, and I think everyone should be encouraging everyone to be successful. That's the only way that this whole supposed community is going to flourish. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be putting out fraudulent stuff, And you shouldn't be trying to sell lies to people. So the people that are doing that, stop. Like I said, it doesn't matter if I say that or not. No one's going to watch this and be like, I'm going to change my ways. And if they do, great. Please let me know if you do. That'll make me so happy to know that I had that impact on someone. But for the rest of us, just be mindful. Just try to not fall into the trap of going out and accusing people of doing fake things when you don't truly know. Because you don't want to come out of that situation, out of those accusations, and find out that you're not only wrong, but now everyone thinks that you're a liar. So, as far as musical ability of some musicians that are out there are plenty of guitar players that are out there that I know I'll never be able to play as good as. And it's not that I'm lazy or that I'm not creative enough or anything of that nature. It's just that some people are better at things than other people. I also have this thing where my finger, locks. So diminished arpeggios are always a good time. But that's besides the point. If you want to get good at anything, the best way to do that is to just dedicate a lot of time to it and do it in a realistic manner. I've been working on material from Animals as Leaders for the past year, and I'm going about it in a very slow process where I'm just breaking it down to small segments, mastering each of the segments until I can do all of it as one big statement. It's the same thing as learning how to read. You watch Sesame Street as a kid, they have the brick wall, they have the letter that starts the word, and then they have the rest of the word on the other side of the brick wall. And they say the letter, they sound it out, and they sound out the rest of the word, and they slowly merge them together. And that's all you can do when it comes to the parts of any piece of music you're trying to learn. Break it down into sections, and then make it into one complete musical statement. And that's the only way to really get good at playing entire pieces of music, I think. As far as different techniques, it's all about practice. It's practice. It's not necessarily an exact number of hours a day. It's as many hours as you can dedicate to it, and as many hours as it takes for you to get good at whatever you're trying to do. Don't practice to the point of being in pain, because that's only going to cause problems further down the road. And don't worry so much about what everyone else is doing. I fall into the same trap where I go online and I'm trying to promote stuff for my band or for myself, and then I start scrolling through all the people I follow on Instagram, and I'm like, oh boy, maybe I should just sell all my guitars. But then I don't. I don't sell my guitars. You know why?
Because no one's trying to buy lefty guitars.
But also, because if you give up, you're guaranteed to never accomplish what you're trying to do. So, just stick to what you're doing. Don't get caught up in looking at what everyone else has and what they're doing. Just keep doing you. You'll manage to put out something that's more unique if you stick on that path anyway, because you won't be influenced by all this outside stuff where it's going to bleed into whatever you're writing, and next thing you know, someone's accusing you of ripping off someone. So that's what I think in regards to that. As far as the topic of fraudulent things existing in music, I think it's a slippery slope, and I think we should get off it. As an entire group of people, as musicians, I think we should get away from the idea of fake being something that needs to be called out. I think there's certainly going to be people out there that are faking what they're doing. It's whatever. You know, you don't have to co-sign their behavior. But if you're taking time out of your schedule to call them out, what good is that really doing for you? It's just making you look foolish or, jealous.
Have you stopped to consider that maybe, just maybe, you're gel?
But also, if that's fake, then where does the line get drawn in terms of what's authentic to the guitar? Is clean guitar with no distortion, is that real? Are we not allowed to use distortion anymore? If you have a guitar with a sustainiac in one of the pickups, is that fake? Is your sustain on your notes fake now? Is your feedback fake? If you use a Digitech drop to play in drop A instead of playing in drop D tuning, is that fake? Is that taking away from the integrity that you have as a musician? So, I don't know. I just feel like there's too many variables that can be brought up into scrutiny, and it's just not necessary. Like if you see someone that's being fraudulent, let them be fraudulent. As long as they're not selling a product, then who cares? If they are selling a product, leave a comment on the product that they're selling. Say, you can't play like that because that guy's got his video sped up. This is fake. Because as far as it being an advertisement, I think that's grounds for anyone to call it out as something that's not a real product. I think that product reviews are important. So if you're faking something in order to sell a product, you should watch out because people like me will definitely call you out. But yeah, that's all I really have in regards to this topic. It's the same thing when I go on social media and on YouTube and I see people passing themselves off as music teachers. I, for one, actually went to school and studied in music. I've been teaching for over 10 years, probably more at this point. It was just my birthday, so I don't know what's up or down anymore in this old age of mine. Unfortunately, it's a situation where, as a consumer, you have to decide whether or not that person is someone that is worth your money and your time. A lot of people think they can get by on just personality, but having actual academics behind it definitely goes a long way. And you don't want to be spending a whole bunch of time with someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, because then you're going to go out into the world thinking that you're well versed in all the musical education that you've been obtaining all these years, and then find out that everything that you've known for all this time is actually wrong. Unfortunately, I don't feel as compelled to say anything in regards to that, because if I go out and I start calling out people as fake teachers, what's that going to do besides make me look like a less successful music teacher that's just upset that someone else is making more progress than I am? All I can do is just continue to offer the services that I have available to people and just continue doing the good job that I know that I can do. That's it. If you sit down for a lesson with someone, either you mesh with that person or you don't. And you find out real quick whether or not that's the case. So it just comes down to that. The problem with fake guitar players putting out instructional videos is that you don't know necessarily if what they're pushing is something that is a waste of your time and money until you've actually invested in it. So as a consumer, keep an eye out for that stuff. As music enthusiasts, as other guitar players that are out there and they're perusing the internet and are just looking to see who's out there and who's hot, do it. But don't take it to heart and think like, this person is so much better than me that I'm never going to get any better. Don't let it be a deterrent from you making progress in your own musical journey.
Guitar is not a sport.
Yeah, that's all I got about this whole topic. I really didn't know what to say about it other than like, can we all just collectively stop? Let's just leave it alone. All right. The guys that are faking it, they know who they are. We know who they are. I'm not saying names, but just stop. Stop and stop making videos pointing fingers at everyone, because it's a bad look for you and it's a bad look for them. We can all do better. So let's start doing better. All right? That's all I got. If you want to support me, Patreon, all that stuff, it's down below. All right? Talk to you soon. Keep playing. Peace.